saw Fred Claus. That's all that matters.
Right.
All right, let's talk a little bit about the news of the day, and it's a Wednesday after a big primary day, and this is a Fox News alert. Down in Mississippi, the man, picture right, Thad Cochran, has won the Republican nomination for the U.S. Senate. He was the establishment candidate. He had the support of Haley Barbour and others. The guy on the left, Chris Mcdaniel, the Tea Party favorite. It was a squeaker. As we take a look at the board right now, Thad Cochran, 51% to 49% for Chris McDaniel, who now says there's a real good challenge he could contest this.
That's right, and the reason why, goes back to the fact that some in Mississippi right now, you can actually vote as long as you don't vote in both primaries. If it goes to a runoff, open primary, regardless of party, you can get in there and vote. And what McDaniel is saying that Cochran did is get into some of the communities, like the black community, and up the showing for the voting polls now, and also really paint his opponent here in the primary as someone who is this, money hacker. He's going to get in and strip away any federal assistance. So that was his claim here. Still came away shy with the victory. McDaniel said, "Look, I'm not giving up. Not time to surrender yet."
There is something a bit strange. There is something a bit unusual about a Republican primary that's decided by liberal Democrats. We have to be absolutely certain that the Republican primary was won by Republican voters. And so we will stand with courage. We will stand with judgment. We will stand with integrity. And we will stand with dedication. This is our fight, conservatives. It's necessary for years, if necessary, alone. But we are not prone to surrender.
But the rules say that you can have Democrats vote in the primary.
Yes.
Eric Cantor could have said the same thing, although the distance in his race that he lost and was upset. But he went ahead, did Thad Cochran, said, look, strategically, I have to go win over blacks and union members, and that's who he's going after. Evidently, they did show up. I'm not sure if we're going to see that for certain, but he's every right to protest, and we'll see what happens.
Go into challenge, and certainly Cochran had a bunch of support behind him. Brett Favre. He also had Senator McCain come forward and say, look, this is no time for on-the-job training. Those comments may have played into part.
Well, Cochran has been bringing home the bacon for Mississippi for years and years, and that's at the end, that's what he was saying, because at the end, keep in mind, the other guy, the guy who lost, was actually ahead just a couple of weeks ago. And so things started to mount. And in fact, a number of Democrats went ahead and said, OK, we're switching gears. We're going to go ahead and vote in the Republican primary for Mr. Cochran because we don't like Mr. McDaniel.
All right.
And so at the end, the Tea Party candidate did not repeat what happened with Mr. Bratt down in Virginia. The establishment candidate wins in Mississippi.
Meanwhile, at 5 minutes after, there are some other primary results, Elizabeth.
That's right, too close to call. Even this morning, Peter Ducey, therefore, is following all of those live from Washington. Hey there, Peter, what do you have for us today?
Elizabeth, Congressman Charlie Rangel thinks he's already won his 23rd term. He delivered a victory speech, very long victory speech in Harlem last night. But his challenger, Adriano Espaillat, is refusing to concede. Less than 2,000 votes separate the 84-year-old Rangel and his challenger, Espaillat. And officials aren't calling the election yet because they are still tallying absentee and provisional ballots. That could take 2 weeks. In Oklahoma, different story. It wasn't even close, and Congressman James Lankford beat T.W. Shannon 57% to 34%. Shannon's campaign had national Tea Party support, and he told voters that Lankford hasn't been conservative enough in Congress. But Lankford prevailed anyway, and now he's the favorite to replace retiring Senator Tom Coburn.
The job is clear. We must get rid of Obamacare. When I go in to see my doctor, I only want to see my doctor. Not Uncle Sam and my doctor, just my doctor. We have to repeal this, and we have to bring real conservative solutions to bear.
The race to replace Republican Trey Radel in Florida, who stepped down after a drug bust in D.C., was won by another Republican, Kurt Clausen, and that was a special election, so Clausen is heading to Congress. And one more big result in the Rocky Mountain state, Bob Beaupre beat 3 other Republicans, including Tom Tancredo. Now he will face the Democrat incumbent, Governor John Hickenlooper, in November. Back to you in New York.
All right, Peter Ducey live with the post-game show for primary night in D.C.
So I don't know if you've noticed or not, but we talked